Welcome to the Rochester Regional Chamber Community Outlook Breakfast Press Conference. We have a lot of great stuff to cover. We only have a half an hour to do it. I know we have 6 speakers, and 6 speakers were given each 5 minutes. Do the math, that's 30 minutes. And then we have breakfast. So without further ado, I'm going to quickly introduce myself. My name is David Walker. I'm a member of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce, a past board member and a past chair, and I've been asked to facilitate this morning's press conference. So I'd like to start with the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce, their mission statement, which is important. The mission of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce is to provide leadership and resources in order to advance business and community development in partnership with civic, cultural, and educational interests for the benefit of its members and the community. And with that, we're going to call up our first speaker. Please welcome, with a great message from Beaumont Hospital, Raina Colombo, the Director of Rehabilitation Services at Beaumont Troy. Welcome, Raina.
Thank you. Good morning. Adjust this. It's a real good privilege and honor to be here with every one of you. As you know, Beaumont has been a proud community partner supporting many Rochester regional chambers of commerce, the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce and the annual sponsor of the Sunrise Pinnacle Award and Hometown Christmas Parade, and today the Community Outlook Breakfast, to name a few. Beaumont is also honored to support the Older Persons Commission, Rochester Community Organization Resource Exchange, the Neighborhood House of Rochester Hills, the Rainbow Connection, and Rochester Area Youth Assistance and FANUC North America Health Expo. Supporting our community and sharing knowledge is very important to us. Employees at Beaumont Troy are very active in the community. More than 10,000 hours of community services from a variety of different departments were reported last year. Our speaker bureau has furnished numerous speakers to discuss a wide variety of healthcare topics to Rochester area businesses and nonprofits. Beaumont Troy offers a state-of-the-art place where knowledge is shared and new ideas come together for the benefit of our community. Much of this is taking place in the 20,000 square foot Mosheri Learning Center and the 174 Farhad and Muhammad Kwasi Family Auditorium. After conducting a community health need assessment, we learned that more education was needed about certain health and wellness topic. Last year, Beaumont offered 3 free presentations, including about living well. These included topics on healthy weight, lifestyle, heart and mind, as well as preventing and managing diabetes. More than 300 people participated in these events, and they all learned from Beaumont experts about how to take an active role in their health. On Wednesday, March 27, we are excited to host our very first community event for 2019. It will focus on heart, mind, and soul, and feature keynote speaker, Dr. Michael Dangorvian. He is a Troy cardiologist. And there will be also presentations about mindfulness, movement, heart health, and healthy food options. This community event will take place again, as I mentioned before, at the Kwasi Auditorium, which is within the Mosheri Learning Center. The doors will open about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and if you'd like to have more information, you can log into our beaumont.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Raina. Next, we have from Oakland University, the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost. Please welcome Dr. James Lentini.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Oakland University and our new expanded Oakland Center. Hope you've had a chance to see the views. It's been an exciting year this past year with this with the Oakland Center expansion taking place, with a new residence hall opening last year, and lots going on this year going forward. And they're limiting me to 5 minutes, so I'll make sure I'm on time. But obviously, we have some new exciting projects to talk about going forward this year. One of them being an expansion of South Foundation Hall. Those of you who know Oakland University know very well that this place, Oakland University, has been one of the fastest growing universities in our state. In fact, we looked over a 20-year period. This institution grew about 59% in terms of student enrollment. And over that time period, we've outgrown our space quite a bit. So these kinds of projects, the new engineering center, our human health building, and now South Foundation Hall will really help us to address some of the space shortages, classroom shortages. $40 million project with help from our state, $30 million from our state, and I just saw Representative Mike Weber come in. I'd like to give a hand to Mike Weber for helping us get that project off the ground. No tuition increase on that, parents. No tuition increase on that. I want you to know about that, for that building. We're really excited about it. It will help us. We have some of our departments on campus. College of Arts and Sciences as a good example, with departments spread all over campus. It's not very unified, so with this building expansion, we'll be able to pull some of those projects together, so we're pretty excited about that. The expansion includes 55,000 square feet renovation and 25,000 square feet of existing space. Our challenge will be we really use every space on our campus quite intensely, so we'll be renovating while we're also inhabiting, and we're going to have to figure out how this moves forward, so we're still working on the timing of that. Some of the programs that we support, obviously, with these kinds of building expansions are around STEM, health professions. In fact, the #1 area of graduates at our university are in the health professions, School of Medicine, nursing, health sciences, so that's exciting. Another project that is very exciting, $20 million project for a Wilson Hall expansion, built around student success, and things like admissions, tutoring center, et cetera, will be part of this new Wilson Hall expansion. So both of these projects together are getting set to take off in terms of design and build. We don't have exactly the timeline laid out, but within the next 2 to 3 years, we'll have some great new space on our campus. You might know we have a new capital campaign off the ground, Aspire, Advance, Achieve, $150 million fundraising campaign. We're looking for a name on this building. I think the mayors of Rochester and Rochester Hills are going to kick that off with oh, not today. Okay, but we'll be working on that as we move forward. Some of the other things, I know probably just a minute left here, but Oakland University is really dedicated to student success, meaning when we've recruited students, as I mentioned a minute ago, the institution is growing and growing, even in a state, by the way, right now where demographics are not showing birth rates to be in our favor in terms of where the 18-year-olds might be coming to college. But we've continued to outpace that trend. We plan to do that in the future, so keeping students here at OU, 97% of our graduates at OU stay in this region, so they're contributing to this workforce. They're the CEOs. They're the people who are the engineers, the healthcare professionals. We're excited about that. How many OU grads out here? Okay. Welcome home. All right, thanks very much.
Thank you, Dr. Lentini. All right, please welcome from the City of Rochester, the Mayor of the City of Rochester, Rob Ray.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? All right, fantastic. Is this on? Is that on? It's great to see you all this morning. I have 2 items to share with you. Just recently, on February 13th, the City of Rochester was proud to swear in its first full and part-time firefighters. Most people think that that's a regular occurrence in most communities, but for 125 years, the City of Rochester, our fire department has been staffed by volunteer, paid-on-call firefighters. Matter of fact, in 1880, when Thomas Edison first patented the incandescent light bulb, the village council bought rubber buckets and ladders for the general public to use to put out their fire, the fires. 2 years later, the call went out for volunteer firefighters, and then just now, we proudly swore in those firefighters. That was on the back of receiving a $2.4 million grant from FEMA last year to help with the staffing conversion, the largest grant that the City of Rochester has received to date. So now we've sworn in some 35 firefighters, and it's fully staffed. Most importantly, that change in our staffing model, reducing the drive time from a volunteer's home, leaving their family or workplace, to go to the station and then go back to the resident's home, removing that portion of time, that travel time to the station, reduces response times by half at a minimum. So it's a substantial investment in our community, the first responder story of Rochester, and certainly our residents and their safety for property and life. Now, more news breaking in the past, just in the past 2 days. Rochester has been named an accredited Main Street here in the community by Main Street America. That designation is very unique. It's coveted and is a mark of distinction recognizing programs, organizations, and communities with a proven track record of celebrating community character, preserving local history, and generating impressive economic returns. Now, probably what's more impressive is that this isn't a new occurrence for the City of Rochester. This is, in fact, its 14th time in a row we've been named Main Street America. So appreciate that, all the hard work that goes into it, and certainly I think that dedication to our Main Street is a hallmark of the city and known throughout the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. We're on a mayor thing right here. All right, from the City of Rochester Hills, please welcome the Mayor of the City of Rochester Hills, Brian Barnett.
If I move the mic slowly, they won't notice the height difference. Did I say that out loud? Morning, everybody. It's always nice to follow Mayor Ray. I get to move the mic, obviously, and congratulations on your announcement with the firefighters. I know Mayor Ray is working on bringing the internet to Rochester next year, so that'll be exciting. Breakfast hasn't even started yet. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the opportunity to update you on some of the things happening in the City of Rochester Hills. I appreciate my colleagues and certainly the Rochester Regional Chamber for putting on this event each and every year. Very unique to our communities and a chance to get together and find out some of the great things happening in all of your communities. Well, as you know, Rochester Hills prides itself on being the preeminent place to live, work, and raise a family, and really in all three of those areas, the city is truly excelling. Since we gathered here last year, the city has been recognized nearly every month for either a statewide or national recognition. Since we gathered here last, we were named the 8th best city in the country in which to start a small business, a recognition that I think rings true with our small business crowd this morning. Our Rochester Hills Fire Department was named one of the top 5 fire departments in the state of Michigan. Just last week, our clerks and MIS department won a national award for innovations in elections. We're consistently ranked one of the top 100 fleets in the country out of 35,000 competing fleets. And we've continued to be one of the top 10 safest cities in Michigan for 4 years in a row, and the recognitions and awards keep coming. It's been a great year, but we're certainly not slowing down. As we strive daily to make Rochester Hills a better place to live, we're also working on making it a better place to play. As you know, we've been pursuing private donations and grants to fund our city's newest park, Innovation Hills, with the Rochester Hills City Council matching those funds dollar for dollar. And thanks to the support from the community, many of you here today and in the room a little bit later on this morning, this summer we broke ground on the major water features and have made significant strides on the city's first new park in over 25 years. Last year at this event, I announced that we had crossed the $1 million threshold in private funds raised for the park. Like a Dr. Evil moment there, $1 million. And this year I'm proud to announce that we've raised and topped over $1.7 million in grants, private support, and personal donations. Personal checks, community fundraisers, and state grants. In fact, just yesterday, we even had a local company stop by with a $1,000 check from Casual Days from their employees to donate to our park. We are blessed by the outpouring of community support, and I want to thank all of those folks in our community who have stepped up to be part of that legacy. Now, friends, I always use this opportunity to talk a little bit about the local economy in the city of Rochester Hills, and it is roaring as well. With historically low unemployment rate and dozens of new companies creating hundreds, if not thousands, of new high-technology jobs, Rochester Hills continues to be the economic engine that powers Oakland County. A more recent phenomenon, however, has been the explosion of international investment in the city. New companies from Europe, Asia, and the Middle East now fill our 11 technology parks. I've talked about these international companies in the past, but it's important to point out now that those international companies are going back and recruiting themselves to bring their colleagues to our city to work and grow as well. The reason we get excited about these international companies is pretty simple. It's about the jobs. I thought I'd bring out this morning one interesting fact about foreign investment that cannot be ignored. Now, the average worker compensation in the U.S. paid by a U.S. private company is $63,000. However, the average worker compensation paid in the U.S. by a Japanese firm is $84,000, nearly 34% higher. And the average worker compensation paid by in the U.S. by a German firm is $93,000, nearly 50% more than a U.S. paid worker. Now, late last year, my economic development team and I traveled to Europe to meet with key international companies to encourage them to expand in Rochester Hills. And in fact, today I'm proud to report that after that visit, specifically with the Coastal Group, they announced the purchase of 16 acres of vacant land near Adams Road and M59, right next to the Meijer, where the company will spend $58 million to construct a state-of-the-art headquarters and manufacturing facility seen on the drawing here to my left. Once built, this facility will employ over 250 people in high-technology fields. And late last year, we also welcomed a very exciting new company called CATL. This Chinese firm is the largest manufacturer of EV batteries in the world, and they have just selected Rochester Hills to be their first U.S. sales and engineering office. And in April, at my State of the City, I don't want that gig. At my State of the just plain old city, we hope to make another major international investment announcement. As foreign investment continues to flood in, we're also investing in ourselves like never before. I'm really excited about this. This year we'll take on one of the biggest infrastructure projects we've taken on in decades, the Auburn Road Corridor Project. When Auburn Road was first built, its design prioritized speed and ease of transport rather than local quality of life. We've engaged the local community in that area, and now we are making unprecedented investments to make this historic section of town safer for pedestrians, better for the environment, and more modern and distinctive. The crown jewel of the corridor will be the new plaza and pocket park. This will be a place for community events, public gatherings, family memory making, and our city's very first splash pad. So we're not resting on our well-deserved laurels. In fact, we are simultaneously taking on two of the biggest and most transformational projects in decades this summer. If that weren't enough to keep us busy, we're also inviting the mayors of America to Rochester Hills to see our success firsthand. Many of you know that this June I will become president of the United States Conference of Mayors and hold the title of America's Mayor. As president of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, I have chosen Rochester Hills to host a 3-day gathering of mayors from across the country. New York City, Miami, Los Angeles, Boston, and mayors across our entire nation will join us here in our city in early October to discuss some of our nation's biggest challenges. We're thrilled to bring the conference to Oakland County for the first time in history, and we'll be sharing much more information as we get closer. So the city is absolutely thriving, and I look forward to sharing even more details during our breakfast this morning. We thank our engaged residents, supportive business community, selfless nonprofits, and all who share in our success. Our success is truly a shared success, and we proudly stand as the kings of collaboration. Thank you.
Let that one linger there. All right. In my best announcer voice, here we go. From the Rochester Community Schools, Superintendent Dr. Robert Schoener, and special guest, you going to introduce him? I'll leave it right there. Dr. Schoener.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here, and appreciate the Chamber for holding us. I'm going to be joined on the podium by a couple of my colleagues. So before I begin this morning, I'd like to, first of all, just recognize a few people. We have 4 members of our Board of Education here: Kristen Bull, Kevin Beers, Barb Annis, and Michelle Butel, and my colleagues from the school district, Carrie Lawler, Superintendent, Assistant Superintendent for Secondary Education, Equity, and Inclusion, Dr. Catherine Skadel, Principal of Stony Creek High School, Pasquale Cusimano, Principal of Adams High School, and Allison Roberts, Principal of Hart Middle School. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning I just want to talk a little bit about something that is incredibly important to our entire community, to our entire state. Rochester Community Schools has been committed to ensuring the social, emotional wellness of its students and staff, and to that end, today we're formally announcing the initiation of a task force led by these administrators, supported by our Board of Education, aimed at developing a systemic K-12 approach to ensuring that our students have the tools not only to succeed academically, but socially and emotionally as well. The task force will gather subject matter experts to evaluate the types of programs currently in place, what we're currently doing, studying organizational best practices, and creating and executing a plan that would promote positive social emotional wellness and resilience within our schools. Cultivating a community of acceptance to remove the stigma of asking for and getting help is critical to this success. How we think, what we feel, and how we act and respond to situations at school, work, and at home all impact our social and emotional wellness. Mental health experts agree that a concern can become a problem when ongoing symptoms cause stress and affect a person's ability to cope and make good choices. It's no secret that our community has been affected by a number of tragedies. And we're disheartened not only by the number of suicides, but opioid-related deaths in our community. According to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States. The Center for Disease Control lists suicide as the 3rd leading cause of death for young people between the ages of 10 and 24, and estimates that 4,600 lives are lost each year. And quite honestly, we don't talk about it, and we don't talk about it enough. The number of deaths from opioid and drug use also continue to be on the rise. The CDC states that from 1999 to 2017, more than 700,000 people have died from a drug overdose, and approximately 68% of the overdoses in 2017 involved an opioid. Recently, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Ken Daniels from the Detroit Red Wings in a roundtable held by Cranes Detroit. And I was incredibly moved by his story and the story of his family. Ken has started a foundation in the name of his son, and I'd like to invite Ken to the podium to talk about this important issue and also share a little bit of information about his foundation. Ken?
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. So I get 5 minutes. Mickey and I only get 3.5 for an open, so that's an eternity. But by the time you're finished breakfast today, we'll lose another 7 to 12 people across the United States in an opioid-related overdose. By the time we leave this room, we will have lost another 2 will be born addicted because their mother was addicted to heroin or opioids, and that young child would be on methadone, likely become a ward of the state. That's the issue that we're having. When I speak of time, time doesn't heal all wounds. There's a hole in our family's heart that'll never be filled. I will tell you that the brain isn't the only organ affected by opioids. It also breaks hearts. Shame and stigma can preclude recovery. We need to talk about this. Our family didn't. We thought my son would be that success story because those days after graduating from Michigan State with a 3.5 and wanting to become a sports agent or an attorney, when he called me that day and said, "I need to go to rehab," those are the greatest words a parent can ever hear. It's when he was in college in his freshman year, a friend turned to him and said, "You want to get high?" Try these. These are opioids. Probably came from someone's medicine cabinet. Maybe you've got Vicodin, Xanax, sitting in your medicine cabinet that you're not using because doctors, although that's changing now thanks to Open and other prescribing networks, are getting the doctors to change. You've probably got medication in your cabinet that you don't even know that's there. But 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 18-year-olds with peer pressure, they'll find it. My son became addicted in 3 to 5 days because the chemical receptors in your brain changes. You want to say no, but you can't. The cognitive response to say no isn't there. The glutamate receptors have changed. You can't. Addicts don't want to be addicts. They don't. A colleague of mine whose daughter is struggling told me, "It sounds terrible to say, but your son tried. She's been in 14 rehabs. I hate her." I said, "You don't hate her. That's empathy is the highest form of knowledge. You don't hate her. She can't help herself. She can't. Addicts don't want to be addicts. And if every person in this room tells 10 people that, the shame and stigma will disappear. I've never understood why, if we have any condition below the shoulders, we'll talk about it. If it's above the shoulders and it's mental illness, we shy away from it. Our family did. When my son passed, you have no idea, and most of my family resides in Toronto or Calgary, and our friends, they were pissed because we told no one. We acquiesced to my son's wishes. He wanted to get clean. He was for 7 months until the broken recovery industry baited and trapped him and killed him. We don't absolve him for taking something he shouldn't have after 7 months clean, but fentanyl in a heroin pill shocked his heart. Why people bring fentanyl into this country and the bad people, the drug dealers, I don't know, but they do. It's all about money. It's all about greed. But a doctor also put my son on Xanax. A recovering addict doctor put my son on Xanax after 7 months clean, made him feel on top of the world again, took that pill, and he's no longer with us. We thought he'd be a success story. We need to talk about this. Go tell 10 people what you heard today. Get the opioid prescriptions out of your medicine cabinet. And what is really needed, and I think Rochester and you and what you're doing in the school system, K-12 through, guidance counselors are wonderful. We need mental health experts within the school. Could my son have had some depression issues? Sure. But they won't speak to the family more often than not. It's always said, how do you tell when an addict is lying? His lips are moving. They can turn it on and off on a dime. They need people to talk to. They need a safe place. They need direction every day. Let's talk about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken, and thank you for your courage and your family's courage in talking about this. Ladies and gentlemen, the safety and security of our students is always our top priority. The Rochester Community Schools Board of Education is looking to enhance police policies beyond what is required. Quite honestly, we're looking to be the benchmark because our job is to have a profound impact on the lives of children together as a community. We're thankful for all of our partners, including Ascension Providence, the Rochester Police Department, the Oakland County Sheriff's Department, and all of our experts, particularly our mental health experts in our buildings and our teachers that feel these losses every day, along with our administrators. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's time that we talk about it, we're aware of it, and we act on it. So today, again, we're announcing that Rochester Community Schools is launching a social emotional task force to be the benchmark and what our kids need in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Schoener. Thank you, Mr. Daniels. All right, last one. We have from the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce, the president of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome Elena Campbell.
He just told me to talk fast. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, David, for that warm welcome. And thank you so much to all of our speakers today. As you can tell, we live in a truly amazing community here with so many that care and give of their time. Over the past 6 decades, the members of the Rochester Regional Chamber of Commerce have contributed significantly to helping shape our area into a thriving community, deemed a desirable place to work, live, and raise a family. These members are business leaders, have given their time, talent, and financial resources to benefit countless community-based organizations, projects, and events. And you heard about many of them from our former speakers here. One such event is the Rochester Area Hometown Christmas Parade. It was founded by the Lions Club in the 1950s. The parade became the responsibility of the Chamber in the early 1960s. Last year, the parade moved under the umbrella of the Chamber's newly formed foundation, the Rochester Regional Chamber Foundation. Cited as the largest Christmas parade in Michigan, thousands of spectators watch as more than 100 floats, marching bands, and community groups walk down Rochester Road, all anticipating the final float, donated by Bordine's Nursery, carrying the big guy himself, Santa, and Mrs. Claus. As you can imagine, it takes significant resources to produce a parade of this size and magnitude. It wouldn't be possible without numerous sponsors and chamber members who contribute financially and donate countless volunteer hours. Today, we are pleased to announce a new partnership with Chief Financial Credit Union and Rochester College as presenting sponsors of the Rochester Area Hometown Christmas Parade for the next 3 years. This 3-year commitment is significant. Their investment and commitment to this important community event will allow the Chamber's Foundation to focus on improving the parade and, more importantly, ensuring the long-term sustainability of the parade. Headquartered here in the Rochester community, Chief Financial Credit Union has become a true community partner. Their commitment to empowering financial success and inspiring creative philanthropy has been part of the fabric of our community since 1941. They've proven time and again their passion for the greater Rochester area through the support that they provide to so many local organizations. Rochester College, soon to be Rochester University, was founded in 1959. They have worked tirelessly since that time to help students realize their full potential, developing a community of graduates who go out into the world and use their knowledge and faith to influence the greater good. With more than 1,200 students, a growing athletic program, and expanded academics, we're excited to have an opportunity to work with vibrant young minds to help improve the parade. At this time, I'd like to recognize Cheryl Boudrum from Chief Financial Credit Union, and Dr. Brian Stogner, President of Rochester College. We're fortunate to have both of these organizations rooted here in our community, and we're pleased to have the opportunity to work with them to continue producing the Rochester Area Hometown Christmas Parade. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. That concludes the press conference for this morning, but it just gives us an opportunity to kick off the Community Outlook Breakfast. So, if you don't know where you're going, you're out the door, to your left, and keep going. We're all the way at the end of the hall. So hopefully we'll see you all there. Thank you, and have a great morning.